Well, hey there. Uh, this is a podcast, and you're here listening to it. So that's fantastic. So, welcome to the Wicked Wild. My name's Dave, your hillbilly host, calling from the west coast of the Appalachian Mountains. And we're just excited that you've joined us one night to hear another story of our opinions, our critiques, our intellectual discourse on film. And as we all know, hot dog summer is winding down. It's end of July. Just got a few more weeks of hot weather before kids are going back to school. Pools will start closing. It's bittersweet, but we decided to take a road trip this week. And as with most road trips, this one has some dangerous left turns that we're going to have to navigate. But before we get into that, the most important thing that you need to know if you're listening is that your boy Eli is back.
I've came back from the abyss.
So welcome back, Eli. We're so excited to have you. Do you have any stories from your personal journey of awakening?
Listen, as all my friends know and call me, I am a wanderer of the abyss. I go out to the dark places to find things for you. And it was that time for me to go out, to find some things, to get involved. And I come back and the fucking world is like burning to the ground and all the end of the world bingo cards are hitting. Like, what did you three do while I was gone? I had everything in harmony and I come back and it's all fucked up.
We may have taken it off cruise control.
Which one of you read from the Necronomicon? I told you, you guys weren't ready for that.
Hey,
that'd be John. John would do that.
According to the latest movie, there's 3 Necronomicons, so maybe we all did, as far as you know.
There's 3 of them?
Let's not talk about the latest movie. Eli and I have had long conversations about the latest.
Listen, do you want me to be sad on my inaugural return?
Oh,
the prodigal son return, and you want him to come back sad? Because I don't want to be sad.
Well, I'll join that team. We hadn't talked about it, but I finally watched it.
Were you sad too?
Yes, I was.
Right.
Not the movie we're here to review tonight, so we're going to move on. I'm going to say hey to John up in Michigan. What's going on, John?
Howdy.
So
we have the Mole King. What else do we need to know?
Exactly. The vehicle is properly balanced now. We had a flat tire. We got that repaired. And now we're running on all 4s again. Couldn't be more excited. So let me ask you, John, would you, as we've become friends, I think I know the answer, but would you ever join me in ordering new cheeseburgers at a truck stop, sometime just for the experience?
New cheeseburger? Dave, I mean, there's not many people in this world that I would order new cheeseburgers with, but it just so happens to be there's one of them.
I'm on that list.
You are on that list. Eli, I don't think we're there yet. I mean, we can work up to it. I don't know if you're interested.
I feel like if I do something like that, it would be without you knowing as a surprise. So,
and then I would probably bet, well, if Eli's in, I got to be in. So we would all just,
Right. And that's what a true king does.
That's right.
Yeah.
So I mean, it feels weird to order hamburgers though, or cheeseburgers. Shouldn't you be ordering hot dogs?
Well, you see,
now you're just being gross. Now you're just being gross. Not just being gross.
But I did have to ask the question.
That's gross.
Yeah, of all of that. But I did have to ask the question, John, before I officially put on the Wicked Wilds shop my new T-shirt design for the Bare Ass Burger Brothers.
I'm into that
burger chain. So
I like that.
And then, last but certainly not least, we've got Jaime up in Manhattan, New York. How's it going, Jaime?
Going pretty good.
So, and this is a genuine question. I mean, this isn't a jokey question because I am curious. As I'm watching this movie, I'm having a lot of childhood memories. But I was wondering if I know your family did a lot of road trips. Have you ever stayed in a motor lodge? Have you ever had that experience?
So,
because it's a different thing.
Possibly when I was little, but not in recent years. And in fact, had to in my most recent of road trips and almost refused and slept in the car instead because I'd become a selfish spoiled brat and was like, I'm not fucking sleeping here. But I did. But I wouldn't let my feet touch the floor, and I would and it wasn't, guys, I'm over exaggerating. It was not disgusting, but it was not a 4-star hotel, and I was very upset.
The nice word to use is
the one night
worn in.
Yeah.
All motor lodges are well worn in.
fully admit I've become a spoiled brat. Like it's not, but it was
Well,
just
no, and that
like,
wasn't it. I wasn't judging you. I was just curious if you'd
no,
ever
but
had that
I am
experience.
judging.
Listen, to this day, if for some reason I stay at one, I still am in the habit. I always bring my own towel.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
smart. You
yeah.
gotta bring your own. No, you gotta bring your own sheets. You gotta
Mhm.
bring your own pillowcase. You
I
gotta basically
sleep on
not
top
sleep
of
on
the
the bed.
blankets,
I don't listen.
yeah.
The one I stayed in was not that gross. It was just like so basic. It came off as gross. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there was like nothing in the room that I was just like, this doesn't even feel right. Like it's
Yeah.
like a dresser that didn't even look like it's part of this hotel's decor, and like a bed, and whatever.
Wow.
There's a
Yeah.
whole thing behind
Hey.
why I was there, but.
When I went to Mothman last year, they're like, oh, they changed it to like a hotel. And I'm like, oh, okay. And as I walk in my room, and it looked like it was a scene from John Wick, as there's these weird scuffs and scratches in the fucking wall. The microwave was like all beat to shit. The cabinet the microwave was on was broke at one point, and they wood glued it back together. Reason I know this: one, they did not glue the pieces back together correctly, so there was weird gaps. And two, apparently they just thought, well, if we put enough fucking glue on it and it's pushed down the sides, and people that know how wood glue dries, like the beads around the cracks, it's too much. They're like, it's decoration.
It is what it is.
I love how Eli said when I went to Mothman last year, like some kid that went to Coachella, like we all
Exactly.
knew what
That
going
is
to
my
Mothman
Coachella.
He's brought it up like a million times.
That is my
That's fair.
Coachella,
Well, I mean-
John. The Mothman Festival is my Coachella.
That's my point. Is
No.
like
I don't
mean,
need
I'm
your
not
Grimes. I don't need your whatever that girl is. That
I'm not
sings in
dogging
a
it.
whisper.
I love that energy. It's like that is your Coachella.
Billie
that's your-
Eyelash or whatever her name is.
Oh my god.
I'm about
Billie
the Mothman.
Eyelash.
I'm about the truth. All right.
Billie Eyelash.
Anyway,
Well, just a public service announcement for any of our listeners that have never had the Motor Lodge experience, which honestly, I think everybody needs to at least have the experience once. It's a slice of Americana. But here's the basic rules. And I think, Eli, Jamie, John, if you've done the Motor Lodge thing, I think you're on board with these rules. And if you have any others, just let me know. But rule number 1 is, for the love of God, under no circumstances are you to touch the TV remote
Nope.
or the telephone.
Nope.
Should you know? Sometimes you got to.
Nope. No, you don't.
Why?
think you do.
No, you don't have to. It's fucking 2023, my guy. Use that cell phone. When I stayed there, what did I do? Use my cell phone. Watch Netflix all night. Right
I
on
think-
there. Hell,
I think it's hilarious. You think that I've gone to a motor lodge in the past couple of years, dude. I haven't been to one since like the 90s.
I don't even
Sure
think
you
mine
haven't.
was. I don't think mine was even a motor lodge. It was like a motel. Like it was just like I don't know.
If your
It
car
wasn't
wasn't
as
parked
bad as
3
the one
feet
in the
from your
movie.
head, it wasn't a Motor Lodge.
It was slightly further. There was a parking lot.
Does a Motel 6 count, Dave?
That's what I think I was in.
depends if it. Sometimes they
depends on the
buy
Motel
old
6.
ones
I
and
think
like
it was
they'll
a-
just
I
like
think it was a
slap their
motel,
fucking name
like-
on it.
Yeah,
I mean,
was
they
in,
had
like,
cable.
But like
I
in
didn't
this
even fucking
movie, the
see it.
cars have to be parked at the rooms. Kind of.
It
I don't
was,
think
yeah.
mine was. Mine wasn't. I don't think. I don't know. Anyway,
anyway.
let's move on.
Yeah. The other quick
The rules. Yeah.
is you tear all the bedding off. You turn the fitted sheet inside out and put it back on. You do not use the pillow. You do not use the blankets. If you need to, you turn the other sheet upside down because you will get lice, guaranteed, and you will get bed bugs. This is just to help slow that process down. Please, for the love of God, don't use the towels. And for whatever you do not ask for extra towels or extra anything from the
You
desk.
shouldn't even be showering there, to be honest. Like you should be there because you just needed to stop, and for some reason you couldn't sleep in your car because maybe instead you would have been murdered or something. Like
Yeah,
it's
and-
literally to put you behind a door for however many hours you need.
Yeah.
Also, pro tip: you're gonna think, oh, these little shampoos and soaps are sealed. No, they're not.
They don't even have those in a do
Yeah.
they in a motor?
Oh,
Like,
the
have-
real
they
the
give
ones
you
that for
shampoo-
some reason smells like baby food. They all do. It always smells like baby food.
Oh my god. Anyway,
I don't think I've stayed at a motor lodge because I've never had any of these experiences.
Then you are missing out.
Yeah.
what's funny is
Am I?
Everybody
our-
needs bed bugs at
that's
least
what I'm
once.
saying. I think John. I don't think mine was a motor lodge either. It was like a
No,
motel,
I don't think
but-
so.
Yeah,
And also,
unless
it-
you felt the strong impulse to take the desk chair and jam it under the
No,
doorknob.
No,
you were in a
no.
motor
Can't say that I have. No.
No.
If you hear noises outside your door, you at no point acknowledge that they're even happening.
Or don't move your.
That's happened. Yep,
Just
I've been there.
stay where you are.
For the
Correct.
record, our movie does not heavily take place in a motor lodge.
It takes place in
I
a
mean,
lot of motor
just-
lodges.
Yeah, but I meant the primary driving force, I guess, happens in motor lodge. But
Anyway, we're just trying to keep y'all safe out there. Like I said, I think you should have the experience, but just know what you're getting into. To
10-4
Jim's
candy
point,
cane.
it is one step above sleeping in your car. And it's a toss-up. That's literally the decision you're making is, would I rather sleep in a Walmart parking lot in my car or in one of these? Anywho, so as you remember, last time we talked about Tremors, which I'm sure Eli is just torn up that he missed. It
I
still
love
blows my mind.
Tremors. I love Tremors.
It's a great movie, and we all gushed over it. But
We
It's
did.
a movie.
no, ignore Eli. Don't listen to him. Don't let it pain you.
doing that on purpose.
Yeah, he's.
But if you remember, Jaime was the person who gave the on the fly synopsis.
Whoa,
for-
hey, I've been gone for a couple weeks, and you already forget what I do here.
Oh, you're right. See,
Come on,
Yeah,
Kevin.
we
A
wrote
little
it out
ins-
while you.
a little inside baseball. What I do with my Google Docs is I take the notes from the last episode and then I copy them over. So I don't have the wicked whispers
Wow,
in this one.
because
So-
I they're good. They're good this
Mea
time.
culpa, mea culpa. Let me hand off to my boy Eli for
Thank you.
this week's return of
Thank
Wicked
you.
Whispers.
Now, I'll just tell you all now, there is no hope. None. It's over. Game over. 2023 is the end. It's a race to the finish to see who's going to be responsible for ending it, people. Got 3 stories for you. 3 stories. First, let's start off with in Russia, as we all know, the events that are occurring there. In Russia, there was a fucking Mothman sighting. Someone has a picture. They're like, and now Mothman, Harbinger of Doom, has been seen at different places in the world. Apparently, Russians are not as familiar with them, and they're like, "What's this? What's a Mothman? We got Mothman now." That like you see online, everybody thinks it's funny. It's not funny. Harbinger of Doom, people. So if you didn't have Mothman on your end of the world card, not at him, because he's coming in hot, not missing out.
Okay.
Number 2, since I've been gone, aliens are literally 2 feet from taking over.
They're teabagging the planet
feet.
at this point.
So, we watched a couple weeks ago, a whistleblower who currently works for the U.S. government filed an official whistleblower report stating that the USO has UFOs, that they have taken UFOs from our country, and that they've had some type of contact with extraterrestrial life. Now, a lot of red flags went up because a lot of people were like, oh, that sounds like Bob Lazar's story, who's been saying this stuff since the 80s, who said he worked for these and is taking all these lie detector tests and all this stuff, right? Well, all of these senators and government officials are like, nah, that can't be real, except for this dark horse from Florida, Marco Rubio, the senator who has about as much personality as cat shit. He decided to be the one to actually believe this whistleblower and interview him. And then he is telling people, like, I believe him. And I, like the story of Pinocchio, I think he's a real boy now because this is the most personality I've seen from this man since he's been in office. So if it's enough to scare Marco Rubio, I'm a little scared. So now he's talking about it happening. So now we got also reporting this week. There's this weird green flash explosion on Jupiter. No one knows what it is. And scientists are concerned because they're like, in our understanding of these things, don't know what that is. Don't know.
Shouldn't have
Don't know.
happened.
Should have happened. So now that's going on. And then they also reported that the telescope caught, they think the dark night, which some people thought was a piece of an asteroid, some people who think it's a mothership because it's kind of triangular shaped, is coming back into orbit, people. It's coming back. So the aliens are at this point just lining up, ready to go, about to make this the year of the wiener as they just jam their dick right into the planet. And then thirdly, the people that didn't believe, that thought AI is the future, it came out this week that a lot of experts who are studying AI, as you know, these companies kind of unleashed it and let the genie out of the bottle, realized that the AI is now starting to ingest the own information it's creating and now making the most horrific images known to man that are so grotesque. One expert was quoted as saying, "I don't believe in God, but I've seen hell." And now these experts are coming forward going like, we need to stop this, because if AI starts building and like doing stuff and it starts pulling from this warped, mutated, hellish fiend it's creating, that could cause problems. And people are like, they'll figure out the difference. So, hey, those are people, they're not even whispers anymore. I am screaming in your town square right now, people. If you don't have a bunker, maybe look at one, you know?
So that's where you've been for the last few weeks.
I can neither confirm nor deny that I may not be stockpiling canned goods and nuts in a hole that I've hastily dug in my backyard.
That sounds good. Grab some nuts.
Well, thank you for that, Eli. That's a lot.
Hey, you're welcome, people. This could be the last episode you listen to. I don't know. Every day's a blessing now.
So every morning, Eli wakes up and pulls the curtains and go, well, we'll try again today.
Canada's on fire. You know, that's cool.
Our last hope.
They found a spider in Australia, bigger than a trash can lid. I keep going, people.
No,
it's just getting worse every day. It's getting worse to be on this planet every day.
Well, on that note, we're going to jump back over, as I mentioned. And again, I apologize, Eli. Like I said, I didn't have it in my note outline, but Jaime was our synopsizer last time on Tremors for our On the Fly Synopsis, which is where I asked the latest synopsizer a question, and that decides who's going to have to give the synopsis for this movie. None of the hosts know who it's going to be, not even me. So, Jaime, my question for you today: what's your favorite CB handle in Joyride? Is it Black Sheep, Candy Cane, or Rusty Nail?
Don't know if I like this again.
So, I didn't even get to talk about my experience with this movie yet, but this movie has like personal attachment to me. So the one I pick right now also has like, for purpose of this question, and you'll find out why, I'm going to go with Candy Cane.
Go with Candy Cane. Well, John.
Oh, wait a minute. Which one am I then?
Don't worry about it.
I'm Candy Cane.
Candy Cane, of course you are.
Oh, Candy Cane. Oh,
our little sweet something here on the podcast.
Oh, I do declare. Well, man, I feel like I've synopsized more times recently than I care to remember. But so, anyways, we got it. We have I don't know if it's unrequited, but a boy that loves a girl, and she lives far, far away, and she just wants to go home, and he buys a car to make that dream happen. So, and on the way to pick her up, he has to pick up his lovely brother who's just been broken out of jail, and he gets a CB radio, and all hell breaks loose. Insert murderous rampage from a truck driver.
Of his murderous rampage, but never mind. We'll discuss. It's there's two deaths in the movie.
Well, I mean, I guess how many people murdered 2 people in a week?
Actually, I'm sorry. Wait. There's possibly 2. One is alive. We'll get possibly 2 others. One is alive. So
I mean, he ripped a jaw off a dude's head.
But he's alive. He's alive. He just can't.
He can't chew anymore.
He doesn't want to be alive.
Yeah, that's a different. Yeah.
Hey, it sounds like a dream. I'd live off Grimace milkshakes all goddamn day. I don't care.
God.
I don't care.
Oh no.
I don't care.
I haven't even tried one.
I
do like that it's purple though.
I drank one, and the best way I can describe it is you can't tell if you're drinking a grape milkshake or something that tastes like cake. One of the two. I don't know.
That sounds disgusting.
I drank one. I have drank no more.
Yeah.
But
is it like I like the Shamrock Shake for one.
So do
you know
I.
what I mean? You like
this
get
is
one
not
a
a
year.
Shamrock.
Yeah,
nope,
okay.
This is
no,
not.
Right,
nope.
okay.
This is something that like you find, you try it, you kind of wish you had it.
And you're
I
like,
would
oh,
say
I
this,
did that?
if you go
Okay.
to McDonald's and they're like, hey, you want to drink this purple goop? Say no and try they came out with a Hawaiian Punch Icy,
Ooh.
which is delicious.
Well, Hawaiian Punch is delicious. So,
So
yeah.
drink that
yeah.
instead of what looks like purple diarrhea in a
You
cup.
know what's really good? Or go, because I had never had one, but go get the limited time strawberry frosty in Wendy's, Eli.
Oh, I love
It's
the strawberry. I remember
amazing.
that.
Oh,
They used to
'cause
be
it's
all the time, all year
yeah.
round.
Well, now it's limited time. Anyway, I'm sorry. That is not what this conversation is about.
About no jaws and hookers.
That's right. Well, and for my regional fast food chain, my favorite, Pal Southern Service, as a comparison, instead of putting out purple goop that you don't know what it tastes like, they released, and they do this every summer, and I look forward to it every time. They released their 3-week run of real key lime shakes.
Ew.
I don't like
Key
key
lime
lime.
ice.
So.
I love key lime.
Ew.
Love
even
key
has-
lime.
Eli, it even has the graham cracker crumbles.
Dude, don't do this to me.
Remember when Sonic used to have a key lime shake and they used to do
Ooh,
that?
yeah.
But the only
But
problem,
Sonic does like
sucks.
1,000 shakes.
But
They
the-
probably still have it.
well, the problem, well, no, Sonic used to do it with actual graham in it, but they quit doing it because I think a lot of people complained because like they didn't crush it very good. So like you'd be like fucking slurping away and
Clog
that
up the
fucking
straw.
Yeah.
like a rock of graham would like clog your straw.
A rock of Graham.
Yeah, you always have like a brain aneurysm because you're like trying to like suck with all your might. Ew.
Well, as
I did-
luck would have it, as it usually happens, for some reason, the year of the wiener is also the year where this statistical anomaly keeps happening. John, you're up first. to give us
Oh man,
your opinion.
Synopsis ain't up first.
Yeah.
Well, this was the first watch for me.
Really?
I've heard nothing but glowing reviews from Jaime and Matt that they apparently love this movie.
Jamie has
saying.
never put love. Jamie has never said love ever.
I'm pretty sure you're like, this is the best movie ever.
Mm-mm.
For
It's
those
the
that don't know,
grimace
Jamie
shakes.
has a full sleeve tattoo, all joyride.
All Joyride. All Joyride.
She considers
Steve-
it the grimace shakes of movies.
Steve Zahn head right on her bicep. Just smiling, goofy looking, all ready to go. But no, in seriousness, I heard Matt really like this movie. And I was like, oh, if Matt really likes it, look, I'm interested. My interest is piqued. So I rolled into it. I was like, oh my God, Steve Zahn looks like me at the same age in which this was filmed. Wow, I'm now old. This isn't cool. I didn't like it. But the movie was fun. It was very of a time. The clothing on the female actresses were quite, I guess they were tight and very, like, it was cold on set apparently all the time. I don't know what the director's idea about that was. That was one thing I was just like, really? And then I looked up, she has not been in like a movie in
No.
forever.
No.
I mean, I was like, wow, she reminds me a lot of like a young Meryl Streep. And I was like, I wonder what happened to her. And I looked up, like, nothing. Nothing. But the chunky heels, I remember those, like early 2000s. It was very big in my high school.
The
Now I'm
candies.
I don't even know what they were called. I just remember they were like chunky. I mean, they were like 4 or 5
Yes,
inches.
they're
front to
90s
back.
things. Yes.
Oh, and I was just like, man, this is like right out of my high school. But other than that, yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a fun little ride. I like Steve Zahn, Paul Walker, R.I.P. Definitely. I mean, it's like that boy never aged. Like from the minute he started acting to his end times, he was literally the same person.
Yeah.
He found the lane. He stuck to it.
I just want to say how
That's
proud
great.
I am that I did not make a joke right there, even though I really, really wanted to.
Well, you interrupted anyway.
But I
Hey.
didn't make the joke.
Hey,
Hey,
And
no
we
one's stopping
appreciate
you,
it.
Eli.
I didn't make the joke though. And also, hey, Jamie, just a little bit, right?
It's all
You
about
missed
family.
this, right? You missed this a little bit, right? You missed it. Just a little bit, right? You missed it.
We're never
You-
going to get through this episode.
Eli, honestly, just get to the joke. I'm waiting.
No,
No,
I'm not gonna do it.
Come on.
I'm not gonna
We're
do it.
not going back
Fine.
and forth. For-
No. Anyways, the movie was good. It was fine. I didn't like the ending. The ending was kind of like too like standard, like happy ending. I would have liked a little bit of a vengeance. But I was like, oh man, they're never going to show the truck driver. And was the truck driver played by somebody different than the guy
Yes,
voicing
it was.
Yeah.
Do
I
you
was gonna
know
say-
that voice?
Yes, everybody knows that voice. It's
Yeah.
Ted Levine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that voice, I'm like, oh, his voice is great. I'm like, but that's not that dude.
And then
No.
they cast that
He's
ice truck
uncredited,
guy
too.
because he looks like Ted Levine. Because I was convinced it was him because he just looked.
So
like
did they just go, Ted, come in the voiceover booth? We just need
Yep.
you to record some lines.
He did it after. He did it after. It's post-production. We could have this.
Oh.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
worst. Regardless, I love the voice. The voice was great. However, the guy, I mean, there could have been a lot more gruesome. If there's more gore, actually, I would like to see Jaime behind the director's chair for this, because
Ooh.
I bet that version would be amazing, because there would be a lot more craziness and gore.
Apparently,
kill
some of
count
it
would be higher.
exists. Some of it exists, and we'll get there.
Mhm.
Apparently.
Well, I think
yeah.
I know who's next up on your roster there, Dave.
It's Eli, the joke boy.
Oh,
I'm saving Jamie for last because this is her movie, so she gets sort of the last word on this one.
What?
I'm glad it's her movie because I don't like it. I'll be honest. I'll say up front. I am not a car movie guy. I'm not really a car fellow. I don't like the Fast and Furious movies. The only car movies I can like just off the top of my head that I think I like is Smokey and the Bandit. Because that is instilled in every West Virginia person. You have to watch that like it to graduate high school, which is like third grade. So I like Maximum Overdrive because there's like a super raptor element, Carrie, stuff like that. But I don't really like car or like trucker stuff. I kind of think it's boring. Which is exactly what I think about this movie, is that it's really boring. I never really cared for Paul Walker, to be honest. I like Steve Zahn, and like I think he's probably, to me, like the only kind of entertaining aspect of this movie. But like then again, like they could have replaced him kind of with anybody, and it wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
The whole story like of this trucker like is whatever, and I don't know if it's because like I'm one of those guys that get over analytical. If I've experienced with something, like that plays a lot in how I see something.
You do
like,
a lot of fact checking.
Well, no, not even fact checking, but like I grew up with a lot of truckers, and like they're like the nicest people on the planet. Some of them are perverts, but like not this crazy. So like I just couldn't see it. Like so it's like weird, like that one person thinks like that plays an effect. And then like to James' point, there's what, one death, maybe two. The guy with a jaw, like okay, and then I'm watching like this hillbilly drive his truck around while these like guys drive their car, and like then there's like in a hotel, and like and then the ending is stupid. Like the ending to me is like real flat, which I really don't like. And there's 3 alternate endings, 2 of which they filmed, 1 which they didn't. And 2 of those I think would have been better if they went with those, because at least there'd been like a bang or like a payoff at the end. We're like, this is just kind of flat. So like to me, I'm just like, it's a movie I haven't watched since I was forced to watch it because I had some friends growing up who weren't really into scary movies, but they decided like, hey, we're gonna watch this really scary movie. And I'm like, oh man, what are they gonna watch? They're like, give me a joyride. I'm like, oh my God, okay. Sure, great, awesome. And it got all of my expectations.
So you loved it. Got it.
Hated it. I don't know if I hate it.
You don't hate it.
There's just not enough that I even care about it.
Yeah, that's
it's
fine.
not Antlers,
Yeah, exactly. You can't put this on the stage. You cannot.
It's not Antlers.
I wish Carrie Russell was in this movie though.
I would hover this. How dare you? First off, don't even bring up her name to me. Okay.
So good.
I would hold this up along the same lines as like I'm gonna get in trouble with Mary for this, but like that House of Wax remake. That's where I kind of hover this.
Wow, really?
Yeah, I didn't like that either.
Wow. Okay.
Is Mary a big fan of that?
For some reason, I don't know why.
I mean, no judgment. I just didn't know.
I'm judging. I don't know why. I wish I knew that before we got married.
Well, as I mentioned, Jamie, I am going to go next because I do want you to because I want to hear this story. So I'm going to hold you for the.
I think we're making out like there's a bigger story here than there really is, but okay.
I mean, when somebody does a full color, full sleeve mural of this kind of movie, I think there's a story there. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. So, but I saw this not when it came out, did not see this in theaters, but I saw it within the year or two afterwards. And I'll talk more about that after a while of why I went back and saw it. But this is the first time I've watched it in 20 years or better. But I remembered all the beats. And so I actually, my son watched it with me because we were sitting down last night, and he's 14 and he's getting into some of the thriller, mystery,
Nice.
horror side of things. So I thought this was a good one to throw on for that. I have to be honest, John, it hurts me to see Paul Walker now, because I was so kind of bought in on him being the next action hero. He was good at that. He was very
He's just a
physical.
baby in this one.
And he's just a bitty baby. And I'm looking at his whole career in those eyes and going, damn it, universe. But I really did enjoy getting to see him again, but it does hurt. And then to your point about Leelee Sobieski, I hadn't seen her in years.
Oh, same.
And she was an it girl for like a 3-year period where she was.
Oh, for sure.
And you saw, who was it you said you saw in her?
Young Meryl Streep. It's
Meryl
the nose.
Streep. For me,
it's the nose, and it's the hair. Whatever, her hairline is very similar. Remind me of Meryl Streep.
Well, for me, and tell me if I'm crazy, because this actress had just come off a big run. I think Leelee Sobieski got a lot of her start because she is 100% a direct clone of Helen Hunt, just a younger version.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. I agree with that.
So, it's almost jarring. Like in this, you feel like you're looking at Helen Hunt in her 20s kind of thing. So, but, I was distracted by the Ted Levine voice that we've already talked about. I do love that they did that with a mystery. That's a fun little tactic to take of, we all hear him and we know who it is. So we start looking for that person, like in the background in the movie, in this version, since I kind of knew the plot of the movie, my thing was trying to track the truck in all the backgrounds. So, and for those, and unlike Eli, I grew up as sort of a truck nut, and I'm a car guy. I actually worked in the automotive industry for years. I got to go to SEMA, but when I was a kid, semi trucks were something I was obsessed about because I was big into Transformers. And of course, nothing could be cooler than a cab over engine, Peterbilt truck, the big red Optimus Prime trucks.
Yeah.
I was obsessed with them when I was a kid, and I could, because I'm also OCD, I could name you the models of what I would see on the interstate. I could tell you that's Freightliner, that's a Mack, that's Peterbilt. By the way, Rusty Nails is a Peterbilt. It's a 357. It's
nice,
fantastic truck.
With
the sleeper cab on the back. He's got the sleeper on there, which is handy when you're kidnapping people. But anyway,
for sure,
I have all of those memories, all that nostalgia about truck culture that we're going to talk about. I've got some questions about them, but as far as overall, I enjoyed this movie. It's one of those for me, and we've had this conversation on other movies to where we'll watch something and one of our hosts will say it doesn't cross the line of being an actual horror movie. Mm-hmm. This one's not a horror movie for me. It's a thriller, and even to Jamie's point, even as a thriller, it's kind of a slow burn thriller. But it's a fun one. I mean, it's not non-offensive, but I do have some things in this last watch that stood out to me that I'll get to my questions. Love CB culture, love the usage of it in this one. I have a lot of CB memories from my childhood that I'll talk about here in a minute. But before I do that, Jamie, the floor is yours. Tell us about your experience.
So, I went to the theaters because I was super excited because I saw an eclipse in the movie. Oh wait, wrong movie. It's not Fast and the Furious. I don't know if I saw this in theaters. I really don't. I can't remember. It's irrelevant at the point in my life if I have or not, because at this point I've seen this movie a few too many times. Maybe so many times that my sister used it in her maid of honor speech at my wedding.
What?
So what, I mean, I know we don't get we're not big discussing personal, but as everybody has referenced here, this is one of my husband's favorite movies. So I've seen it a few too many times. I don't frequently watch it. So but if it's on in my house and if we happen to own it on DVD, which we do, it was very easy for me to watch again this week. And when it's on, if it's on television, it's usually on our screen. So yeah, so there's a connection there. It's become an ongoing joke with my sister and Matt, and that's why she used it. She used it to him, not to me, luckily. But she, as soon as she started it, she called him Candy Cane in the speech. So if I could, send you guys that clip, I will.
So how often does he watch this movie?
Not that often. It's just a movie that is always referenced as as being worth watching. Like, I think it's become a joke at this point of it being one of the greatest movies of all.
It's his signature movie.
It's So do I watch it often? No, I don't put this on often. But to your point, and you hadn't seen it in a while, I mean, I know it so well that I know it beat by beat, and that's what I was gonna get to, is like watching it now again for this, because we always say how we rewatch things in current, it's hard for me because I know exactly what's gonna happen. And for a movie like that's not a horror, it doesn't have any gore, it doesn't really have any I know what's gonna happen. I could watch this while on my phone. There's nothing suspenseful for me because I know exactly what the joke is here, or what the little trick is here, that he's got his credit card, not he's trying to kill him, things like that. I love Steve Zahn. I'll watch Steve Zahn in anything, including this, no matter how obnoxious he is in this. I do not care for Leelee Sobieski, and in fact did the same thing you all did, and was like, has she been in anything in recent years? Because what happened to this girl besides Never Been Kissed? And she has not been in anything. Never Been Kissed might have been her best role because she adds nothing to this movie, like literally nothing being there. Paul Walker, yeah, it's sad to see Paul Walker. Paul Walker is Paul Walker just as he is in Fast and the Furious. But is it my favorite movie, like everybody's saying? No.
Obviously.
Is it a fun ride? Yes, even after I've seen it a few times, it's like a comedy thriller. If you're going to watch it for just the enjoyment of how silly they're being and the comical aspect of what's going to happen, yes, one might call this a joyride, so to speak.
Oh shit! She said the title.
She did it.
That's kind of hurtful that you say she wasn't in anything. She was in the Wicker Man remake. The Sister Honey. Remember,
I
Dave?
didn't see it. Remember, you made me suffer through the original, and I have
You need
not
to
watched
watch the remake.
Not yet. No.
You need
Not
to.
the booze.
You need to.
Anyway, sorry, my story was not nearly as exciting as everybody wants it to be, but it's it hits with just my sister, Matt, me. Like, we got some jokes about it, so it'll always be this is not a movie that I'll always have. I guess I'll always have like a little bit of a soft spot for it. No, it's not something I voluntarily put on all the time though, but I don't know, I find it enjoyable. It's funny. Like we all said, it's not a horror. It's not, and it's not a horror. It's just a fun little entertaining thing.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
I don't know if I'd say entertaining, but yeah, okay.
I think it's entertaining.
I had a
think
good
it's
time.
funny
It's
enough. Yeah, I think it's
It's
funny
a
enough.
movie.
Like, yeah.
It's non-offensive. I mean, and the reason I had mentioned that my son and I watched it, we don't watch a lot of these kind of movies together because I'm giving him a primer experience of horror. I'm kind of walking him up the ladder as you do with somebody who's new to the genre. You're not going to friggin' start with something like Midsummer or something like that.
Oh no, I thought you were gonna say like The Exorcist.
Well,
I
that'll
was
just
like,
put
I
him to
sure
sleep.
shit would.
Midsummer.
How dare you? How dare you?
I
How
wouldn't
dare
start
you.
with that either. But
But
anyway,
after we finished that, I asked him because I was genuinely curious and I was going to give his feedback on this. I said, so what did you think? And he said, well, is that a horror movie? And I'm like, that's an excellent question. What do you think? And he goes, I don't think so. I wasn't ever scared. It was exciting. He said it was a lot like an action movie. And I'm like, well, that's fair. And honestly, if you think about it, it is more of a road movie than it is any of those kind of things. It's more in the vein of, and it's not nearly as heavy as something like The Hitchhiker, but it's in that vein of movie kind of thing. So, but that's a better movie in my opinion.
I mean, yeah, it's listed. It's funny on IMDb. It's listed as thriller, not in this order. I don't know, thriller, action, mystery, which I guess kind of makes sense. It's like if you were reading like one of these books, it'd be like a mystery thriller. Like, you know what I mean? If you were reading this as like a book or something, like it's got that little like, I don't even want to call them tense, but like, I don't know. I love the scene with like the road signs where like Steve Zahn's the only one seeing them. And then he like stops and tells it, like that kind of stuff is like, supposed to be like exciting or whatever.
Well, I think during the 2000s, like the early 2000s, this like it's like a 10-year period. Like this was a thing where they do these like movies that they kind of advertise as horrors, but they really weren't. Because like
Yeah.
one that I love, but I don't consider horror is like Vacancy came out around the same time.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
did
And
it?
and it was like I love Vacancy, but like I don't know if I classify it as a horror, you know?
Yeah.
Like there was a bunch of them like that. And I kind of don't feel like the scale tipped to where it kind of started becoming horror until you got to like The Strangers. Then that's when it started tipping back into horror. But like it was like I remember there's a lot of these, like I mean, even like House of Wax. I don't count that. I wouldn't consider that a horror movie. Like there's not
Yeah, it's an
really
amazing movie.
That's
okay.
the original or the remake?
The remake.
Or either.
The original
No, John. Oh, John's just being. Oh, he's just
Yeah.
instigating. Never mind.
Yeah. But like I
No,
like,
I would
like,
say
a bunch
House of
those
Wax is
movies
more
like that.
horror though. When someone's taking people, and we don't have to go on, we don't have to discuss House of Wax. But when someone's taking someone and putting wax over them and I don't know, that's more horror than like this maybe is like I get the aspect
Yeah,
of like
not much.
kind of
Like
torturing people in a way. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, horror, this conversation is a conversation that I feel like has been had by many, including us, of like, what is horror? I agree. This movie is not. I agree with everybody. I think everybody here agrees that this movie is not horror, thriller. What they said, action, mystery, sure.
It's a fun movie.
Someone's antagonizing, teasing, and whatever else, someone else to a degree that's unhealthy, I guess.
Well, and to the philosophy of this podcast, I do think it is a wicked, wild kind of movie because it is about, being completely isolated and feeling like you're on your own and having to survive a bad situation. So I don't have any problem with us putting it on the schedule because I do think it makes perfect sense for what we do here on the show. And we're not dogmatic about horror anyway. I think we're all pretty free spirited about what can be quote unquote horror, what can be within the realm of the movies we like that we would lump into a list of horror. But in this one, the thing that stood out to me that I wanted to get to was how there are no good people in this movie. Not only that there are ambiguous people, but Paul Walker's a freaking stalker. And he's probably the best of these people. His brothers.
Wait, why is she not good?
Well, and that was the point I was going to make is
I'm sorry
because I don't know anything about her.
Oh yeah, no, you don't. You don't know shit.
Exactly. I mean, she's literally there to be a target or to be a victim, which it's been so long since that was a trope in movies that it was kind of jarring that they literally put her out there in this thin, slinky spaghetti shirt and focused, as John pointed out earlier, focused on her figure as she walked towards the camera. Oh yeah, they used to make movies like this, and literally that scene of her walking towards the car is the most impactful thing she does for the entire friggin' movie. They didn't give her any lines, they didn't give her anything to do, but both of the brothers are pretty much trash, and then you've got poor Rusty Nail, who is a victim of these trashy brothers, but doesn't handle his emotions in a healthy way. But really, it was surprising that even in the end, when Paul Walker's trying to save Steve Zahn, I'm like, I'm not really concerned if he saves him or not. I don't know that I really care if these guys get off scot-free or not. So that was interesting to me because it's been a long time since I saw a movie like that. And we as a society have been through so much that my perspective of those guys was totally different because I don't remember thinking of them that way the first time I saw it, which was the only other time I've seen this movie.
Well, I think like you said, you don't care. I think that sums up how I feel because like there's not really enough there. Like the brothers are trash. Don't really care about them. Rusty Nail is kind of stupid. Don't really care about that. That girl I'm not connected to because to James' point, who the fuck is she? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know anything about I just don't care about any of it. So then like it gets hard for me because there have been other movies where like the main characters have been trash, but like it doesn't where you're like, oh man, no, come on, get it, guys, get out of there. Like here I'm just like, all right, yeah, I'd like to hit free accident Paul Walker 2x4 too.
There's nothing, these characters are not super, but I like them. Like, and it might be because I like Steve Zahn and literally like putting it on again this week. I said, oh wow, I forgot he's super obnoxious with it. I mean, they start purposely. Like first of all, he's getting out of fucking jail. He's the black sheep. So, and like, he's supposed to be. Paul Walker is supposed to be your like protagonist, even though when you realize
the mama's boy,
he's not really a stalker. I mean, he volunteers to go get her because like he likes her, but I don't
Well,
know. He doesn't even live
he
near her.
buys a car and
No, but what
drives
I'm saying is
across
like he's never
country.
seeing her. They're talking on the phone at 3 a.m., which was very rude to his roommate, by the way.
Yeah.
But like I don't know. I like them though. Like I find them likable in their they are cliche, like obnoxious college, a little over college dudes, but like more likable than like what people
90s
call
guys.
like
More
and
endearing.
more likable than what people call like bro dude, or like what as when people say that negatively, or like
They're not
fraternity
Chads,
guys.
yeah.
Like they're just like they're like, you know, they're dumb. Think about, remember, like when you look at, because we're all getting a little bit older. Eli's the youngest,
What?
but like when
How
you see
dare
like
you.
a college kid now, they look like they're in fucking high school. Like because you've aged out of that. Like, you know, these kids are for all intents and purposes like out of high school, and like I don't know, like it's fine. Maybe in my head, I'm thinking of Paul Walker also in Fast and the Furious, and it's like the same guy. And I'm like, what? He's gonna become, you know, he's gonna become part of the family, and we're all gonna. But
Listen,
they don't make me mad. I don't know. I like
Yeah.
again because I think the movie's enjoyable. Like I find
And
them
maybe
funny.
it's just me, but
Um,
that it just
yeah.
it was surprising that I reacted that way. But sorry, Eli,
no, you're good. No, I'm with you because like I don't care about because like I don't get me wrong, I love Steve Zahn. One of my favorite movies of all time is Strange Wilderness, which I think
Of course it is.
is a largely, oh my god, it's one of the funniest movies. People do it is no, you know what? You don't know. It is fantastic. It's a movie about Bigfoot. And Steve. One of my I love that. That's one of my favorite scenes.
I knew
love
it was. I
But-
knew it was. I know you, Eli. I know
But,
that's your favorite
Like
scene.
even Steve Zahn, liking Steve Zahn, like his character was enough to make me care about any of this. Like it's
No, because yeah, he's not. I mean, he's just, you know, he's
If
got
he'd
a
been, like,
few
a
funny
real-
lines and like
right. Like if he'd been a jerk even, or like maybe as bad as Killer, something. If any of them had something interesting enough to make me be like, oh, okay, all right, well, okay. But like it was like perfect way to describe this movie: white bread all the way through. Just
well, I wonder if,
plain white bread.
but to your point earlier, it's not just the alternate ending. So this movie was filmed
That's an
apparently
alternate ending?
over
3 of
He
them.
said it earlier. Were you not listening?
Thank you,
No,
Jamie.
I don't
Thank
listen.
I'm
you.
always yelling at all of you to listen to someone else. Anyway, guys, not only are there 3 alternate endings, like
Mhm.
Eli said earlier, there's a bunch of deleted scenes for this movie because
Yeah.
like they like rewrote it. Like it went to test audiences with different endings, different scenes, different like there's literally, if you read like the trivia on IMDb, there's so many kind of like, I don't want to call them plot holes, but inconsistencies because people think because the story changed around so many times versus like literally just like was he coming from California? Was he going to where like it's just like so part of me wonders, and honestly, I have the DVD. I did not sit and watch the deleted scenes this week.
Why not?
But like part of me I doubt it, but I'm just saying, part of me wonders if some of this is on the cutting room floor, like some more of this that you would maybe care about them, or backstory, or maybe for fuck's sake, maybe Leelee Sobieski gets a whole exposition. What do I know? But like, I wonder if some of this like just got lost in this rewrites of this movie and what it ended up just going out as versus like.
Did you watch any of the alternate endings, Jamie?
Back in the day, I haven't watched. No, I didn't watch them this week. So I know one has dismemberment though, and that's the one not on the. That's the one that I think has been gone. Is gone.
Right, they got rid of it.
Yeah.
There's like one where like he's like, it's like it starts off like Halloween 5, the end of Halloween 5, where he's just like tearing through people, and then he gets like dismembered, like they dismember him or whatever, and like.
I think
like-
they dismember the girl too. The
Yeah,
one that
well,
the roommate,
Right.
the one that they kidnapped. That again, God, talk about someone who plays no purpose in this movie whatsoever.
Yeah.
She gets dismembered, I think, in
Mhm.
one.
Yeah, like so it's like this weird thing where he like there's all this dismemberment, whatever, but at least like it goes out this big gory like
Yeah,
bang.
that would be.
The second ending is like they make it where like Steve Zahn and Paul Walker are actually kind of like worse than maybe him, because like they surprise the trucker and just you watch for like 10 minutes while they beat him to death.
While they wreck him.
Yeah. And then the third
Okay.
one, they were going a Jeepers Creepers route. And this was the one I believe they did not film. This is the one they did not film, excuse me. That they like, there's this whole kind of chase where he's got his rig on and like he like crashes like they convince him to crash somehow, and like the front of the truck explodes, but not the trailer, right? And so then the police they come to the scene and they open the back of his trailer, and it's just thousands of bodies stacked Jeepers Creeper style. And like they're like, oh, he must be the craziest trucker serial killer ever. And then the very last scene of the movie, burnt truck driving away.
Well, because I did read that 2 of the endings he dies in.
Yeah.
This is one of the only ones where he like lives in. Spoiler alert,
Yep.
people. But
Mhm.
I love the last line. See, like I love the washes everything clean. Like we have like lines of that. First of all, Matt and I will walk around not very frequently and just do the bitch when he yells, when he says shut up your bitch or whatever, and he goes, bitch, what did I tell you? Like that's one of like our go-to, like it's just so dumb.
Yeah.
But
And it's so
Steve
Steve Zahn
Zahn.
too. Well,
yeah,
and
bitch.
to your point about the alternate endings, when I was looking through and putting together some trivia, the first one that I found, and it's to me it's frustrating and kind of gross, is the director, who is John Dahl. Is that right? Yeah, it's John Dahl. He actually filmed love scenes with Leelee
Oh
and
yeah, I
both
saw
of
that.
the brothers,
Yeah.
like separately.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
A love scene
Yeah,
with
there's both
Paul
options.
Yeah, and then neither one of them gets the movie, and that just seems like gross. Like, have your shit together enough that doesn't happen. But again, that's to the point I was making about her in this movie. It's like she was there for one purpose and one purpose only, to be a victim in a lot of ways, of not just Rusty Nail, but the brothers as well. Like that whole probably the most menacing and tension filled scene is when Steve shows up at her motel room. Like he's
When
been
he wants to
plying
open
her,
the door. Yeah.
yeah, when
Super
he's
gross.
plying her with drinks all night. It's obvious what he's doing. And it's just really upsetting, to be honest. Anyway, so the other thing that I wanted to ask you all about, because it's something that I enjoy, and I know Eli's talked about it when we've referenced Maximum Overdrive, but there are these desert Jaws movies with over the road truckers, and over the road truckers can be really effective as this menacing, faceless death machine that's in a movie. And there are some movies, and you mentioned one of them. I think Kurt Russell's movie Breakdown, which I think came out about the same time.
Mhm.
It was similar to that as well. But Maximum Overdrive, Dahl, all of those kind of movies have sort of this. It's this monstrous, bigger than life machine that's being operated by somebody that we can't see, and we don't know their intentions or their mental health. But and I started thinking about, why is it that those movies are so effective for me, at least? And I want to hear your all's feedback. It's because I've spent enough time on interstates, and I've had one of these guys either lose focus or get tired, and I've been driven off of the road by trucks on more than one occasion, especially at night if you're driving, and you want to honk and you want to flip them off and everything, and you realize there's nothing I could do. If this guy decided to just shove me into a tree, there's nothing I could do about it. So you don't honk, or you kind of think, well, does he have a shotgun sitting in the friggin' seat next to him? So they are sort of this unknown commodity. They almost like a monster. You don't know what their intentions are. You don't know what their state are. And Eli, I'm sure to your point, and I knew a lot of truckers too. There can be great guys, but there's also this opportunity for people on the fringes of society that may have mental health issues or social dysfunction in some way. It's a perfect career for those kind of people.
Well, it's funny you said that, because I don't know if you saw in the news this week, they arrested this truck driver who they actually think may be the most prolific serial killer in modern history. They think
Fantastic.
he drives all the country, thinks he may have over 200 kills.
Oh, wow.
And that the reason
Okay.
he's gotten away with that is
He doesn't stay anywhere.
He doesn't stay anywhere. It's the same theory with Garth Brooks. It's crazy.
Garth Brooks is a serial killer?
Oh, you never
Yeah,
heard
what?
that theory?
No.
Oh, there's
no, that's a theory. That's real.
Yeah, there's this investigative journalist who had has followed since he started touring, and has followed the cities he's toured, and there's all these missing people that get reported missing the weekend of his concerts. And it was no one would listen to him for it's Garth Brooks, right? And then I can't remember the Tom Segura caught hold of it, right? And was talk about it on his own podcast, and then more people started list it, like figured out looking into it, and like they're like, oh, he was in this city and like a person went missing. Then 2 weeks later, he had his tour took him this city. 4 people went missing that weekend. Then he went to this, and so people are theorizing either he's a serial killer or somebody that worked with him during
Like
this
it is
time.
roadies is.
Like it is roadies.
Yeah, it's like crazy. It's a if you ever want to go down a rabbit hole that will make you think differently about the thunder rolling, you go do some research into that.
So are you saying there's a hidden message in Friends in Low Places?
There may be, because they're talking about when they send them straight to hell.
So anyway, back to the
Entertaining.
over the road truckers. What are your all's thoughts on that? I mean, is that an effective antagonist for you, or is that more of a rural thing? Because obviously I grew up with him.
No,
So
good.
you can go. I would just
Oh,
say
okay.
I have taken many a road trips. I mean, my family spent my whole childhood, whatever, just like, I'm not saying it's the same, but like going from New York to Florida by road, by highway, by driving
Through the South.
through the South, through the night. So there was no, like, you know what I mean? So you're driving late at night. Like we were like one of those, don't stop. We're just going to drive straight through, and we did this every single year, if not twice a year. My grandparents lived in Florida. So like, it doesn't work for me. It's funny. Eli in the beginning said he doesn't like car movies, and I get him with like car movies. I only like Fast and the Furious, and that's because they're ridiculous. And I mean, I did like the first one for what it was. I do like the first one, but I wouldn't even put this as a car movie because this isn't a movie that's like showing you cool cars or about like no. So I guess my answer is no. Trucks are not menacing to me. I've seen Maximum Overdrive maybe once and like a billion years ago. I didn't see whatever other one you mentioned. I don't think I've ever seen Duel. I don't think I've seen what's the one that that was in the movie with Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino, that one.
Oh,
You know what I'm talking about.
yeah, the Dawn movie. What is
You
it
guys
called?
all come on. But the other one, the road one, one of them is a
Death
road. Death Proof.
Oh,
Oh,
Dust
that's
Till
for-
Dawn. Okay.
No, death proof, right?
Well,
Yeah.
they're driving cars. Yeah,
They're driving cars.
which
But
I
what
like.
I'm saying is like anything on the road with car or trucks or anything. I know you're saying trucks, but like I get it. That's cars, whatever.
Right.
No, it does not. I guess to me, it does not do it. I have driven with trucks. It doesn't matter. I'm actually one of those people who took advantage of that nobody else likes driving with trucks, and it's like faster on the Jersey Turnpike to take the lane with the trucks because nobody wants to drive with them. So there's me and my little 2-door like small like car like just weaving in and out of them because like,
And if they lean on you, I'm guessing, Jamie, you're the kind of person that you don't care. You are going to flip them off.
I am. They're not going to hear me. I'm going to lean on my horn. I used to, Dave, as I've gotten a little bit older, I have given more thought to road rage, but it's not a trucker thing. Like I'm thinking of someone in like a sports car pulling up next to me and just shooting me in the face because like they're mad. Like it has nothing to do with truckers. It's like anybody could just road rage up to me. So I've gotten less with the horn and the flipping people off because like, or
so
cutting
boring.
people off.
I mean, you gotta flip them off.
It's like not to their face though, because I don't need them shooting me in mine. Like I'm so like over
It's the American salute. It's just what we do.
Obviously.
Anyway, that was my long way of saying like no. So like as for suspense or horror movies, these actually don't work for me really. I think I enjoy this movie for being silly and funny and like
And
whatever,
you love the actors,
entertaining.
like you said.
And I like the actors. I don't think it though the tense moments or the suspense is really that like creepy or scary for me, even with Ted Levine's voice, because that's just silly. And I have a story about that too, but we'll get there.
Can't wait.
I think if the vehicles are used right, they can be terrifying, like truck stuff, like Max Drive. I think like just the thought of like, because I still remember as a kid that Green Goblin truck just circling like Jaws, like you said, like Jaws around that gas station, and poor Emilio Estevez,
Yeah.
But then there are movies where like the vehicle is as much as a presence as the killer, even if they show the killer, like the first Jeepers Creepers movie, like that old rusted truck, right?
Or, yeah.
I tell you another horror movie which I think is severely underrated, but like Wolf Creek, that big like semi that he drives around that truck, like it is as much as a presence as him. So if it's used right, then for sure I think it can be really effective and scary. Even I'd say like the first Wrong Turn, like they were driving that old truck around, and before you actually saw the family, you just saw scenes of them. Yeah, they had like that
I
old
can't remember
wrecker.
that.
Yeah, But
And of
like,
course, Duel is all about the truck.
Right,
The truck is
right.
the monster.
right, and like Carrie and stuff like that, but like I just think in this,
You
like,
mean Christine?
or Christine, excuse me.
Mm,
I'm sorry.
Just
Listen,
fixing.
I've been
I
gone
know.
for
I
a
was just
month.
making sure people understood that you weren't
Yeah,
scared
thank
of a
you.
girl covered in blood. That you was
Well,
more scared of
maybe
the car.
I am. Okay, you don't know me. But like
Yeah, I
there
would
were
be.
movies where like the car, like they can make terrifying, like even Death Proof, like just like the speed of that car and like stuff like that. Like, but like in this, I just like to your point, Jamie, it wasn't really like a car movie. Like the big portion of it, like him in the truck, them driving, road trip, whatever. But like where like Jeepers Creepers, I think kind of did the same premise a little bit.
Did.
Like,
It did. It had that
but
same
it did it
menacing.
so much better because it was more interesting than anything in this movie. Because like there was no hooks in this movie to make me care. So, but that's to answer your question. That's my long-winded answer.
Okay.
I'm back, everybody.
I do like when he bursts through the ice truck, though. That seems pretty cool
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
I instantly
as far as
jumped at
menacing.
Dexter.
Like, as far as menacing, like they think that it's so cliche. They think they're out of the woods
It
and
just
whatever,
explodes,
but like
yeah.
it explodes. He comes like plowing through it.
And honestly, and maybe that's one of the things that an image that I carry with me is trucks can do that. I mean, if a truck moving at 70 miles an hour is not stopping, period, at least not on a dime. And I'll
No.
never forget, it was a college road trip. We were going to Daytona Beach for spring break. It was the year where we got a really bad freak blizzard in the South as we were going to Daytona Beach. And, here we are driving through this snow and we got caught up in Atlanta traffic. And on the other side, going the other direction, the traffic is stopped and the semi locks it up, but doesn't even slow down and literally like plows the interstate, like is throwing cars 10, 15 feet in the air, not slowing down. I'm like, holy crap, that is a lot of energy that these things are creating. So yeah, they're like this unstoppable force. And I think they played that in a couple of the scenes. They played that really well. Now the whole hide and go seek in the cornfield.
Oh, the cornfield
is kind of lost on me.
Yeah.
Because
All right. I'm so glad you brought this up, Dave. Please continue, but I have a question.
because I am a nerd, as Eli pointed out, a Peterbilt or any semi truck is just going to get in that plowed field, and that's where it's going to be because the thing weighs like 30 tons. It's going to sink down to the axles, and that's where it's going to be. So I couldn't get past that, but I get what they were trying to do, but I never felt the horror of the cornfield scene. But go ahead, John.
My question was there's clearly a channel these kids are running down so they can like fall in so the truck can go over them.
Yeah.
I'm not a farmer. I mean, I've seen plenty of cornfields, but I've never been in a cornfield. That didn't make any sense to me. That felt like a total like thing that they did so the truck could literally run over them and not hit them.
Well, I may be speaking out of my ass here. Going to totally own that, but my understanding is because we do know where they are generally. They're in the high desert in Utah or Nevada, that sort of area. They've left Colorado. Actually, I guess they're Colorado, Kansas, and that side because they're moving east, aren't they?
Well, they say where they are at one point. When she buys the hat, they say where they are, I think.
Oh,
but
that's
I don't
right.
remember where they are. Yeah, I don't remember where. She says it, though.
It's obvious they're in some high desert, and to grow corn in that area, first, it's not really practical. But if they were going to do it, they would use soaking irrigation canals. So that could be an irrigation canal, but I don't think that's fleshed out at all.
I don't think so because like I know what you're talking about, and those are normally a lot like thin and long.
They're deep and narrow
along the whole row where whatever that is. What 12 stalks would be like, oh, I got water, and the rest would be like, what the fuck?
That for a farm boy, that just looks like a
row, though.
Yeah, for a farm boy, what they were falling into, that's just a ditch you dig to change the oil.
Yeah, or to bury like when your old cow finally turns 100 and dies on you.
Someone just thought that was cool on paper for some reason. I don't know why. A truck in a cornfield, and it was a way to split them up without them seeing, like they couldn't see each other and they could abduct her or whatever. But like, yeah, that scene is another one that I wonder if there was something else to it on paper or filmed, because like that scene always, as much as I've seen this movie, is always very weird to me. Like it's a very weird, and it's like, it's also like It's just the what do you said it 1,000 times. It's just the cab. What's the front of the truck? Is that the cab? That's the cab.
Yeah.
Truck. It's just that in the scene too. He detached his whole truck in that scene. So it's like it's just a weird. It's like also this guy has a lot of extra time. Like he lives in some warped time reality because he has time to like do these things and then still show up where they are.
Yeah, apparently
without,
he was able to go to San Antonio to pick up the friend to kidnap her.
Oh yeah, someone pointed that on the internet too. Yeah, like how well, I'm gonna assume he got her immediately. She like left that parking lot and he somehow
was there.
Grabbed her. Yeah, because that's the only logical. There's no way for him to go to get her.
I mean, he just drives between corn tunnels. A lot of people don't realize corn tunnels connect all cornfields, and you just go one corn tunnel. You just go.
It's like a portal.
Yeah, it's like a portal, basically. Yeah, but it's a corn tunnel.
Yeah, there's a lot in this movie that I'm not gonna call them plot holes. They're inconsistencies or they're just silly. But
they're for fun.
The fact that he can get her, the fact that he can always be where they are no matter what happens, the fact that he can always be ahead of them, he could be behind them yet ahead of them at all times. He could spray paint all those signs, but yet still get,
Speaking of that, Jamie, I got a question. How in the world did her girlfriend end up in the back of the truck? Like, how did the truck driver get? I never could connect those dots.
What do you mean? We just said he picked her up as she left the parking lot.
Really? Was he that close? How?
I got three words for you, John. 3 words for you. Space, time, continuum.
Okay.
Parentheses, cornhole.
Yeah, he exists in his own. It doesn't. Nothing in this movie, timeline wise, makes sense. Like it just doesn't, and you have to just accept that because like he's omnipresent. It's a truck that could just be everywhere and anywhere.
So he's an evil Santa Claus truck driver.
This is Doctor Who's evil it cousin.
Like
I can get behind that. Can we get a sequel?
There is a sequel to this, by the way. And a trequel.
There's 2 sequels.
Shut up.
Yes.
So next week we're watching the sequel, right?
I've seen it. It's terrible.
I made an hour into the sequel.
Oh,
and I made it 11 minutes into the third one.
Ooh.
11 minutes? You lasted that long?
And that was just because I couldn't find the remote, probably.
Shut up.
I mean, there is like a lot with this movie, and you guys, I never had a CB radio, but I'm also not not an idiot. Maybe I am about to say something that makes me sound like an idiot, but like part 1 is that so many other people could hear what they're talking about. Like that's part 1. Part 1 is someone else would have called the police on this man. Because,
more than likely, yes.
He's threatening them over a public radio, if you will.
It's not even just like truckers. To your point, Jamie, like
you can pick it up.
Command
You
centers.
can pick it up. Yeah.
The fucking military probably heard this. Like, hold on a second. There's a truck driver figuring out a space-time continuum. Portals.
Are people really monitoring CB?
That is a major form of communication still.
Yeah,
I know, but I mean, who's really
at the end? That's the point. At the end, they hear him over another CB radio. That's not that. Granted, he knows where they are because he knows everything. But like, I'm just saying, like, people have heard this conversation the whole time, and no one is cared that he almost murdered someone in a hotel. Which, can we just say how it was so nice to see Bobby from Supernatural? Anytime I see him, I get so excited. Oh my god, I get so excited.
Jamie, I know you've seen it several times, so hopefully you've also picked up on that Dwight Schrute's office guard is in this movie.
Wait, back up. Dwight Schrute's
the security guard in the office is in this movie.
He is?
He's the one who answers the first.
Yeah, Hank.
He's in this?
Hank's in this movie?
He's the one who answers the hotel door and says, "What?"
Oh my god, I didn't realize that. But I didn't like. Yeah, he does answer. He does yell, "What?" Yeah, but
I mean, Idris Elba knows
Hank.
Yeah, he sure does.
I think. Oh, sorry. Go, Eli.
I was gonna say, can I just point out too, because you had me curious about what other trash this director's done. I think this man has done episodes of every TV show that's been written in the last 20 years.
Supernatural?
Oh, no. So that's the only show he didn't do.
Everybody's been on Supernatural, so I figured.
After he did Joyride, he did some shows that no one cares about. And then he did a bunch of episodes of Battlestar Galactica, Breaking Bad, United States of Terra.
Wait. Go backwards. Didn't you say he's done crap and then you told me Breaking Bad?
He did a bunch of crap up until Joyride. Then he did some crap shows. Then he did Battlestar Galactica. He did one episode of Breaking Bad, and they're like, no more. They did United States Terror, True Blood, Shameless, Homeland, Arrow, Vampire Diaries.
People love these shows though.
And that's what's crazy.
So good.
Person
Supernatural
of
so
interest.
good.
It always
Dexter,
tells me like,
The Americans,
yeah, wow,
Californication, Outlander, The Strain, House of Cards,
wow.
Justified,
He's
Hannibal,
on it, dude.
Jessica
So,
Jones.
so he's like a studio director. They pull him in when they need something knocked out.
The Good
He's
Doctor.
a jobber. He's a jobber.
Yeah,
Also-
for sure. The Walking Dead.
Well, everybody.
Yellowstone.
Also, wasn't I like it?
Oh,
Wasn't until I
Yellow,
watched
man, this guy's got work.
it wasn't until I watched it this time that I saw J.J. Abrams' name on it too, which I
Yeah.
did not realize.
I love
Same.
it.
So yeah, like it took this watching for like me to be like, yeah, I don't know.
I just
Okay.
imagine every time JJ writes a movie, he puts this on the background and goes, all right, JJ, what should we not do this time around?
But he
Couldn't
just
do
has it
that.
on for inspiration,
Of what not to do.
non-inspiration. Yeah, non-inspiration. And we talked. I mean, is this movie the same if it's not Ted Levine's voice? Probably not. I think
No.
it's why it's loved in my family because of. And I'll tell my story now of like it's not that silly, but it's silly. We went to the movies to see Shutter Island, which if anybody's seen it, Ted Levine has a smallish role in that. I don't know. He's a character in that, side character in that. He shows up and if anybody's seen Shutter Island, it's not a comedy. It's a very serious, straight mystery thriller. We're sitting there. Ted Levine shows up in it might be when he shows up in his little golf cart, because I've seen Shutter Island a few times too. And all of a sudden next to me, Matt starts cracking up as soon as he speaks because of this movie and always this movie. In the middle of Shutter Island in the theater, just starts cracking up like this is a comedy. And I was like, do we need to step outside just because Ted Levine spoke and because all he wanted to hear was candy cane.
Anybody out there know candy cane?
Yeah,
Well,
that's
and the funny
pretty
thing is,
Big champagne.
yeah. The funny thing is
Champagne.
if you've listened to CB radios, those guys are out there. Like you can just tell that they're just desperately lonely, and you don't know what they might do if they actually had human interaction.
good. Oh no.
No. Yeah, I don't know.
So, anybody else have any other questions? Jamie, I
I
knew
do.
you had one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have one for everybody. I want to know what everybody here off the top of your head. I know John's good at that, coming up with things off the top of his head. I want to know what
Maybe.
everybody here CB handle would be.
Oh,
Kind of like your AOL
Oh.
screen name.
Do I have to make
Oh,
one up,
I
or
know- I
can I
know
talk
Eli's.
about the
I'm
one I
sorry,
actually
Eli.
have?
I know Eli's.
I mean, can I take a guess at what Eli's
I don't
screen
even
name would
think you
be?
need to guess. I mean,
Please
No,
do.
no. Oh no, but see, you have to add the AOL like kind of like accentuations. You can't
so we're
just go
not
all
doing
the
AOL.
moken.
You were not doing AOL. It's got
This
no.
is
It's gotta be.
CB, bro.
It's gotta be something
Ah.
short. Like that's snappy.
Moking.
Like yeah,
I'm a
yeah,
moking, bro.
Yeah, you gotta like.
Moking.
Dave, what was yours?
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Do I have to make one up, or
No,
Can
you
I
can do
just
whatever
tell
you
you?
want. You can tell me what it was,
Well-
and you can make one up on what it would be now, unless it be the same.
no? Well, I mean, I've when I was growing up, and I have a very clear memory, and I've got to tell a little story here first because my mom and dad actually met while my dad was working at a truck mechanic's garage. Like he worked on semi trucks. Now, my dad at the same time he was in school becoming a nuclear engineer, so he's a sharp guy. But his college gig was he was working on these semi trucks, and that's where he met my mom. The rest is history. It was Colonial. If you're into truck brands, you know the Colonial driveline.
Nerd.
Exactly. Yeah, I know. So we were driving to Florida, and I always took the third shift with Dad, just like you, Jamie. We would drive through the night because back in the day, you were less of a man if you had to stop when you were on a road trip. The whole goal was to get through in one go. But anyway, I would always take the third shift, and I would ride up front with Dad, and he had a CB in his car. And the first time I heard him use his handle and talk CB speak, which is a very specific vocabulary, it just mesmerized me. It was like learning a new language. But his was Plowboy, which I thought was hilarious because he is a country boy, but his handle was Plowboy. So So mine became Plow Baby because in our family,
Wow.
he's Big Dave and I'm Little Dave
Yeah.
because of,
That makes sense. That's cute.
but
Wow,
I was
baby.
but when I got older, and actually, when I had an old '87 square body Chevrolet that I rebuilt several years ago. This was like 10 years ago. Totally repainted. I painted it that I don't know if you remember that really golden pearl green that Jeep came out with. It was
Mhm.
this really pretty gold green color. Well, I had the truck painted that, and then I took all the badging off and I renamed the truck Romero. So I had the chrome letters for Romero instead of Silverado on the side of it. And then I put a CB radio and an aileron on the back. And not to brag, but I did save up my money and get an actual Cobra 29 LTD Pro CB radio.
Did you really?
So
Wow.
my CB handle in my truck when I was running down the road was Tarman because it was
Oh,
a zombie truck.
nice.
It was my zombie
Nice.
truck. So those are my two answers. Sorry, it was a long story, but CBs
that's
are
good.
kind of in my blood. So,
Oh man, I wish I was cool and had CBs. We didn't have CBs growing up.
but you got to know how to talk to those guys, or they will call you out.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
literally,
I wouldn't even be able, yeah.
and what most people don't know is it is a regulated FAA radio system. If you abuse it like these guys were, you will go to jail. If they catch you doing that, it's a federal crime.
Mhm.
So
My friends and I, growing up, we got in trouble quite a few times, or not trouble. Like people yelled at us because like we would go in there to fuck around, and we would like, all for some reason, all of our names would come up with had poo in it, or like or
Of
or like
course.
pooped or like dick themed, and like
No.
people would get upset with us.
yeah. Well, all real truckers call name or handles had to be semi horny. Like they were these double entendre semi horny kind of garbage names.
Sounds
That's
about
just-
right.
Yeah, but when you come out with it, hey, it's poopy dick, they don't.
They're
There's
not happy.
no.
That's not
Yeah,
even,
there's
that's not
no,
like an
there's not.
innuendo. That's
It's
just
not.
like,
That's what
you
we
know.
did. That's
Yeah.
what we did. Or like,
Well-
except for my one buddy kept like he wouldn't go by the brown streak.
Oh my God.
Well,
Like,
and
we
before
shit like that.
anybody comments, I know I said FAA. I meant FCC, of course.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I didn't even like,
We were not flying it with CB.
Hey, I'm gonna need that nerd card now. I need that nerd card now.
I
Gotta
decided,
punch my card.
was it last night when I watched it? No, 2 nights ago, I guess. I decided that mine is going to be Zombie Shark.
Ooh, very
Nice. Nice.
I think Zombie Shark and Tarman, we could run the roads together, right?
I think so.
You don't want to be the Blair Witch?
No, I
Yeah.
don't. Although part of me wonders if being a woman on a CB radio is a similar feeling to like why I won't talk on headsets in gaming
Oh, yeah.
industry either. Like I just
1000%.
yeah.
And there are female truckers out there. If they
Of course,
key in,
yeah.
it's blood in the water. I mean,
That's
it's
terrible.
ugly
It's so
quick. It's
terrible.
so gross. Anyway, so I had one more question on a
Wait,
similar.
John didn't give me his.
Oh, I'm sorry, John. I didn't get your handle.
What? Oh, my handle. I mean, I don't have any fun things like the brown streak. but
Hey, I if you want, I got a couple I give you.
Yeah.
no,
No one's
I'm gonna-
using,
Do
no
not
one's
let
using,
Eli
no one's
name
using
you,
poopy
John.
dick anymore.
I'm going to pass on the poop double entendres.
Okay.
But I mean, right now, probably, I think my handle will probably just be Grimlock. Just keep it,
Ah,
Oh,
just keep it like somewhat,
Or-
safe, not but nerdy.
or if you want to keep
No,
it the entendre,
no.
you could be the corny log.
Oh
I'm
my
going to
God.
pass on that.
All right.
well,
Or I could just go with candy cane as Dave gave me early in the episode.
there you go. So my question, and it's in a similar vein because I've got stories that some that I would share and some that I absolutely won't. But I wanted to ask you all: have you all ever had a prank go sideways like this? Have you ever done anything that went hard sideways that you can share on in public? I'll make that. I don't want to put anybody on blast.
No, I don't think so. I was a pretty my rebelling was always like in like my hair, piercings, tattoos as I got
Yeah.
older. My rebelling was not really acting out. I was too much of a good kid, and I'm being serious about that. Like I really was. Like, things that rebelling were like, oh, breaking into like spooky places at night and things like that. But I don't think And I know pranks aren't really rebelling, but I feel like if it went terribly wrong, it could have, you know what I mean? So I don't think I was I find them mean spirited pranks. So like, I don't know. I don't think not that I could think of, but I also, it's like known that I have a terrible memory. So maybe something would come to me in days from now, but not that I could think of. I feel like Eli definitely has something, but
I mean,
I don't.
Of course he does.
I mean, there may be a friend of mine. We were part of this organization. We were cleaning up a stream, like a creek, but it rained a lot, so it's kind of flooded. So we were where we were cleaning out was near the girl I was dating in high school, and she was coming down to bring us, I think, more bags or whatever, because like we're picking up trash or whatever. And he was like, "I want to tell you, you fell in and that you're all wet." And I was like, "Okay." Well, I didn't know how close it was, so I had there was like this weird bank part, and I climbed down to grab some stuff. Well, at that time she pulled up, and he told her that I fell in, and the creek took me, and she didn't see me, and so she was flipping out because she thought I was drowning, and he was just standing there. And so like now at the time, right? So like she was like 5'2", maybe 100 pounds. He was 6'4", like probably 250, 300 pounds. And I climb up this bank because I was hearing this like weird yelling noise because there was like some distance between where she could pull in and where he was standing. And I come up, just screaming and smacking him like, "Why aren't you in the creek? Why aren't you in the creek?" And I was like, ran over, like, what's going on? And then somehow it was my fault. And so like I was getting yelled at. And then we had to walk back because we were not allowed to have a ride now.
Sounds about right.
And it was raining.
John, anything you want to share with the class?
No. I was just thinking about it. I was like, I always heard about stuff like that going like here's like, oh, we're just fooling around, and it went way, way wrong. No, never had anything like that. I mean, I got in trouble and some stuff I probably shouldn't share here, but it was never a prank on someone else.
Okay. So have any of you all ever, and this is the one I decided I could share, and I assume Eli has, but have any of you, the rest of y'all, have you heard of or played mailbox baseball?
Why did you assume? Okay, first off, don't know
right.
if I appreciate that. Maybe not.
West
I don't
Virginia.
know. There is there could be a possibility.
Is this like the beginning of Butterfly Effect? Is that
basically?
Movie?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Is it? Okay.
You straddle the bed of a truck. Your friend drives about 30, 40 miles an hour, and you take a baseball bat and try and knock the head off of mailboxes. Got
it. I've heard of it, but I've never done it.
So anyway, I was playing with some friends, and there were specific, and you only do it in the rich neighborhoods.
Obviously,
and obviously, the rich neighborhoods, which, in my estimation, the game of mailbox baseball is why in all the ritzy neighborhoods they have these huge brick structures.
Yeah, I was about to say, don't the rich neighborhoods have the brick mailboxes?
They do now.
Yeah.
But anyway, we were doing, and I had a friend whose name I will not repeat. Not that he listens to the podcast, but for historical purposes, I won't put him on blast. But he was always kind of timid. He was very sheltered. He wasn't a hick like us. And he came out with us one time, and we tried to set him up. We showed him how to play it. Obviously it's high tension because if you get busted, you might get shot where I'm from. It might not. It's not that you're going to get the cops called on. So I think he got too much in his head, and he could never connect with the mailboxes. Like he just swing and miss. And me and my buddies were just giving him down the road about that. Like it's not a complicated game. Just hit the friggin' mailbox. So we were giving him just a hard time about it. And we were driving back to my house, and I was giving him a hard time, and he was at the end, and he was still holding the baseball bat. And we were going, and I guess he just finally cracked. Like he just lost it and got fed up, and he slung himself out the window and sat on the windowsill and just battered up on this mailbox and knocked it completely out of the ground, like the post and everything.
Oh,
It
shit.
hit the side of my truck and then bounced off, dented the fender, and then he ended up breaking the side glass because his baseball bat came all the way through. And then I looked at him, I said, "You dumb son of a bitch." That's my mailbox.
Oh no.
So not only did I have to pay for and fix the truck, but I had to reconcrete a post in the ground and hang another mailbox.
And we just learned Dave lived in the rich neighborhood.
No, he was
No,
just,
it wasn't
he
Brick.
wasn't paying attention. He wasn't paying attention. He was
Oh
mad
yeah, wait.
at
I'm
us giving
sorry.
him a
Yeah,
hard
Dave
time.
was going through there. Yeah, you're right. You're right, John. That still would flow with the story. But
Let me ask you this, Dave, as a one country fellow to another.
As a concerned citizen.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying up top. I'm not saying I ever did this.
Because who would?
Who would? It's silly, but I'm not saying I would have this. But running in country circles, like one like you and ourselves has done. Have you ever heard of anyone if any time there was parking cones out, or like not parking cones, but like cones, road cones, waiting till after dark, getting all those cones, waiting a couple days, and then putting them on a different part of the road?
So I didn't do that. I used to take.
I didn't say I did that. I've heard of people doing it in the country.
I did a thing, and this is well older than I should have been, where my friends and I found it. So like, I know you guys, like we make fun of like you guys were more rural, whatever, but like there's nothing to do on Staten Island. Let me just share that. It's not Manhattan. It's not, you know what I mean? There's nothing to do.
It's a suburb. Yeah.
Yes, very much suburb. People think it's like, and so what we did at, certain ages once we got cars was just drive around Staten Island. That is actually a thing like to do. So like, and stop at different like late night diners and whatever and see people. So whatever. One of our very stupid things that we did, there's two very stupid things. One, we found it very funny, and I don't know why, to wear like winter coats and stuff like that in the summer and drive around with them, and put a giant stuffed animal in the car too. I don't know why this is hilarious to us, but it really was. And then we got stopped once by the police, and my big mouth, and I was just like cracking up over this because we look like morons. Like now we look like we're on drugs because he's just like, what, and he's like, do you know why I pulled you over? And my friend is doing the whole like, no. And I'm in the backseat going, take a guess. Like, I don't even know. I wasn't on anything. I wasn't drunk. I was just like yelling things like the peanut gallery in the back. But what we did used to do at that same time was collect orange road cones from different places, but bring them to my one friend's house and always leave them on her car or around her parents' house at like,
you were that person.
Just to just leave it all around her house, on her car, whatever, like while she was either working or just out that night or whatever. And I don't know why we never, nothing bad came of it. But when you mentioned the road cones, it reminded me that was like our thing to do, was pick them all up. They're gross too. We're bringing them in the car and then we bring them to her house.
The people that I know, but I'm not saying I associate with or anything, I know did this. They would just move them around, except for there was a kid who dad worked for PennDOT, or it was like the PA road, whatever. Because by this point I was living in PA, and there may or may not have been multiple times because we played a sport, or we played sports, but that some of his sports shirts with his name on would go missing, and then that a cone would end up around their house wearing his shirt. But like I said, I'm not saying I was involved in that.
Sure, you weren't.
I was a good kid. I read.
Obviously.
Okay.
The Mole King would never misbehave.
Yeah.
Never.
You were too busy sweeping up at the church and
participating in the bake sale, helping the senior citizens. That's right.
And cremating the neighborhood.
That was not really acceptable thing then.
Well, I mentioned most of my trivia. I did have a couple of things. The first one, which I think is important for John, I think John will appreciate this, that in the trivia on IMDb, it is confirmed, and so we know it's real, that both Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger were considered for the role of Rusty Nail.
I would pay a ton of money to see this.
Well, they're not in it. It would just be their voice, I'm sure.
No, either one. I would pay a lot. Actually, I would love to recast Steve Zahn and Paul Walker as Arnold and Sylvester Stallone. How amazing would that movie be?
Keep in mind, we're at the point now where they do that. Didn't Sylvester Stallone, wasn't he the voice of something stupid in a cartoon? Like, not
yeah,
something
he did the shark in Suicide
he did the
Squad.
shark in Suicide Squad. Thank you. My point being is like we're at the point where like or Vin Diesel
He would do that.
or whatever.
Well,
like,
no,
we're
Vince
watching, like-
Diesel has done voice acting for a long time. He was the voice of Iron Giant. He was the voice of
Was he?
Robot. Yeah.
Mhm.
Huh.
Did
Well,
you call
Vin
him
Diesel's kinda
Vince
like-
Diesel?
No, Vin Diesel, whatever his name is. Stop shit.
Vincent Diesel.
Listen, I ain't part of his family. I don't know.
We're all part of his family, Eli.
I'm not
Goddamn
It's
it.
just-
about family, Eli. It's about
We're
family.
all family.
Well, and Vin is kind of like Ted Levine. He had his signature is his voice. Like
Mhm.
that's half of his personality is his voice.
For sure.
Speaking of, Paul Walker and Ted Levine were in another movie that came out in 2001. Anybody want to guess what that movie was? All
Fast and
right, Jen.
Furious. I'm sorry.
It was Fast and Furious, which blows my mind that this is the same, not literally a Paul in the same era, but this is the same Paul who was
Yeah,
on
same. Yeah.
Fast and Furious. It's crazy because they're so different movies. And then the last piece of trivia that I appreciated because I heard a lot of these colloquialisms. Like I said, trucker talk it's a language, it's a vocabulary. So go ahead, Eli. You look.
No,
up
I'm
your
gonna
cue.
I'm gonna wait for you to say.
I know what
you're
he's.
about
I
to
know what
say,
he's doing. I know, and I
so
know
then
what he's doing.
Then I can do my thing. Good.
So when Steve Zahn is asking for an update on the road, and the trucker comes back and says, "You've got a Kojak with a Kodak in Jamestown." What does that mean?
Bet you know, nerd.
I
That's
do
what he's-
know.
I saw it on IMDb, but I don't remember, or somewhere I saw it. I don't
What's it?
remember.
Any guesses what a Kojak with a Kodak would be?
A camera. No,
That's a police officer with a radar gun.
with a radar. That make with a camera. Okay,
What?
yeah, okay.
Kojak with a Kodak. They're called bubblegum machines. They're called Smokies. They're called Bears. They're called Kojaks. These are the kind of names you have because you can't call them police officers because you're talking about them. And to our point earlier, they're listening.
Okay, but don't
what-
they learn the names anyway?
Oh yeah, but
Oh,
then they can't say you were calling.
Oh,
out
they can't
police
say you
officers.
called out. Got it.
I was
got
just
it.
talking
Because
about bubblegum machines.
got
What are you
it.
talking
Yes,
about?
Exactly.
I saw a
Okay.
bear on the road. What are you talking about?
Just all
Uh,
lit. Got it. Logistical.
Exactly. Any other thoughts on Joyride?
I hope I never watch it again.
I had a good time.
Good time. Would recommend.
It is. It's a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, this movie is for any of the listeners that are interested. This movie is free on YouTube with ads. The cost of entry is so low, and me and my son got tickled because YouTube is horrible at their ad placement. James.
Oh,
Oh.
God, I hate
Plex
that.
is
I
a little bit
hate
better,
that.
actually.
Yeah.
I watched it on Plex.
Oh,
Plex
did you watch
was
it on Plex? Okay.
Some of
Yeah.
us own it, so you know.
That's true. You don't have
Yes.
them.
And some of us
Some
apparently have
don't.
no problem admitting that.
I don't. I sent you guys the DVD script because DVD menus are something of the past, and I miss
Oh,
them.
yeah.
Especially
It's
as
a
someone
time
who
capsule.
worked in DVD production, because I
Dude.
did. Spoiler alert in the back years ago.
Mhm.
It's so I love looking at the menu screens because that was
It's-
always just even a big deal. Producing DVDs, that was a big deal. The menu screen and what.
Remember
silly
how
things-
some of the horror movies, some of them would try to scare you?
Yes, they would. Yeah, but
Oh,
they're just like
super good.
Like that's what I
Exactly.
was going to ask for the bonus feature of the Wicked Wild podcast for this episode. Bonus feature question is, what's your favorite movie DVD menu?
Oh my God, I don't
Animated
remember.
movie.
I don't remember.
I
Sure,
couldn't
there's
tell you,
some
man.
Great ones.
I'd
Yeah, I
probably
haven't
say
watched-
Close Encounter of the Fourth Kind.
I don't
Oh,
put on
really?
enough DVDs anymore.
Oh,
to
it's
know.
it's
so hard.
creepy because it like
Yeah.
goes back and forth between that footage.
I
remember
like ones that do
Seven
something
seemed cool.
creative. Like I like
Mhm.
ones that do something that work with the movie, not one that just shows like a montage of shit or just like. I mean, this one was kind of silly too. It was just I put it in the Discord. It is just the screen. I mean, it's
Mhm.
just the road sign, and it says like it is cute. It says like main movie play, and then it says like 3 mile, whatever miles for other nonsense. But like,
Do any of y'all have the 25th anniversary edition of Alien?
Yeah,
no, I thought you say Jaws.
Not the 25th one, no.
That's a pretty
I-
great
Yeah.
menu
Is it?
because
There
it is
is.
the Nostromo, and you're going through the Nostromo, and
Oh,
it goes
I
to a
might.
screen, and then that menu, but you don't stay on that menu for whatever selection you make. You go tour another part of the ship.
Oh, that's cool.
yes, I
That's
do. I
really
think I do
cool.
have this one.
I
That
don't
one
have
was
that
cool.
one.
That's my favorite one.
I don't
The
think.
Tool anthology, like music video anthology DVD, was pretty dope.
Oh, cool.
But that's because
It's-
their videos are insane. So I
Mm.
can't imagine
Correct.
yeah, they have to have a cool, they have to. I feel like, yeah, that's, I mean, their videos are fucking crazy.
Yeah. So check that out, kids, in the internet. What was the internet time capsule? I can't remember what they call it. The time machine. It's awesome because that's where it'll be because no one will have DVDs by the time you listen to this.
Well, except that for the longest time, Tool wouldn't put their shit out either. So it was only recently that they're on like Spotify, if they're even on Spotify.
Yeah, they are.
Where they are. Okay.
I don't know if they're on Spotify. They're on Apple Music though. But you're right.
They were not available for a very long time. Anyway.
Awesome. Tool's great, by the way. Go listen to Tool.
They're a blast, and you're right. Their videos are on a whole other level.
Yes,
for sure. So, any other thoughts though on Joyride?
Joyride's great. I think I recommend this, and Eli should watch it again because you're gonna love it, Eli.
You know what I find funny? We've had this on our list since we come up with a list like a few months at a like we lay out like a few months at a time, and we've had this on our list. And then I don't know if anybody's seen that this summer, a raunchy female-driven comedy called Joyride just came out in theaters, and I
did it really?
I'm so confused. That is not the movie we watched.
Because we're releasing.
I want that to happen. I want somebody to. Oh, I'm gonna listen to this. What are these guys talking about?
Like
Paul Walker can't be in this movie.
Why is that guy screaming about aliens and Mothman? Grab his shake.
Oh man, I want to see those emails. Please make that happen.
It's just so weird. I was, when they start playing those commercials, I was just like, what?
Yeah, I was looking up a trailer for this movie, and I went down the YouTube hole of what is all this Joyride stuff. It's such a
brand new.
Yep. So yeah, we're going to get a lot of confused traffic on this podcast. So if you came here looking for that, we're sorry, but if you've gotten to this part of the episode, you're welcome.
Yeah.
You've got something else going on.
For sure.
So obviously there are no critters in Joyride. That's one of the downsides to the movie. So the Dave's Critter Corner, I really don't have one. I did find a little fun fact that I was just going to give you all this week, and then we'll move on. Did you know that there is a creature that actually controls its colony by the hormones and enzymes that it puts into its turds, because the colony actually eats its turds, and that's how it makes the rest of the colony follow it.
Are you talking about the Mole King?
I'm talking about the naked mole rat. That's the way the queen controls things.
That's not a mole, bro.
It's by eating crap, because
part of the rat family, bro. Part of the rat family, bro.
Yeah, they eat poop. It sounds like they should be in your kingdom.
Exactly.
We don't eat poop, okay, Jamie. Do we tell funny jokes involving poop?
I can't tell where you draw the line on poop. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. Did I say something that might be?
I see how it is. I'm gone. I had to go out into the desert.
Just a fun little critter fact.
And then I come back.
Incredibly offensive.
And now I find out that Jamie questions whether or not I eat poop. Like,
we all know you do.
You were gone for too long. I'm sorry.
Apparently eat poop.
Obviously.
I don't know what you were doing in your free time.
Full alert, not eating poop.
Well, speaking of Eli's free time, what have you planned for us to follow up Joyride with on Campfire Tales?
Yeah, so technically this movie is not based on anything because it's not about anything good.
Sure.
But what I thought would be fun is if we look at some of the urban legends surrounding truck drivers, some that they believe, and some that people believe about them.
Very cool.
We're going to be going through some truck driving urban legends.
Cool.
So you've got that to look forward to next week. We do ask that if you enjoyed the podcast, that you tell others about it. Let's grow the family. We've had another big spike in growth. But we would ask you to subscribe, rate the show, give us a little comment. Let us know if you have any feedback. You can send me to John. You're putting
5 stars.
Oh,
5
yeah.
stars.
Give us 5 stars. Sorry.
5 stars.
I thought I was cutting out. Sorry.
No.
But yes, we do ask for 5 stars. I mean, it's the summer of love. Like I said, it's hot dog summer. So
hot dog summer. I love it.
So give us your stars. If you want to learn more about the podcast, about any of our hosts, see some of the merch that we've put together that we've mentioned a couple of times, including to Eli's point about the Mothman. I'm wearing my Mothman t-shirt tonight.
Nice.
That we did. That's from Camp Wicked Wild last year. If you're interested in that, you can go to our website, thewickedwild.com. And we've also got some articles, some book reviews and movie reviews, and some articles from our buddy Joe Ferry, who I think is working on some new stuff that might be out by the time this goes live in his regional cinema road trip, where he actually does articles about independent film that's shot in a specific place and tells the story or history or inspirations of that place. It's a cool little article set that he's doing. If you want to follow us on social media, you can do that on Twitter at Wicked Wild We Are, or Slasher, which is the horror community social media, at Wicked Wild We Are. We also we release our podcasts on Monday. On Tuesday, we release all of our video podcasts for the same episode on YouTube. Just look us up, the Wicked Wild Podcast. If you have any questions, feedback, anything that you want us to consider maybe watching on the show and giving our review of, you can send me an email at podcast, podcast, at thewickedwild.com. Anybody else have anything that's going on?
Yes, if anybody suggests Joyride 2 or 3, to Jamie's dismay, I will not eat my poop, but I will mail it to you. So no one suggests
with a knife and fork.
Yep.
Wow. Excellent. Excellent.
Anything else? Well, as
No.
we always say on the Wicked Wild, my recommendation to you is that you get out there and get yourself lost, because it may be the only place you can find yourself.
Or find the Mole King.
10-4, good buddy. Over
No.
and out.
Nerd!
Over and out, Candy Cane.
You're the worst.